The most powerful car in the entire Volkswagen lineup is this model, the Touareg R. This dynamic 462 PS luxury large SUV was the first of the brand's sporting R models to feature plug-in drive, and it was the first all-wheel drive model in VW's PHEV range. Here's the improved version.
The Touareg R is a step beyond any version of Volkswagen's largest SUV that we've previously seen. It's also a very different car from any that the Wolfsburg Marque's R sub-brand has attempted to develop before, taking its place above the T-Roc R and the Tiguan R performance SUV models that the brand's R division launched before it. Before we first saw this Touareg R in 2020, some had expected this fastest Touareg to use the fiery 600 PS mild hybrid petrol V8 from the Audi RS Q8, or perhaps the 507 PS V8 TFSI engine from the Audi SQ7. The 462 PS petrol V6 it arrived with instead turned out to be more than sufficient to justify that R branding though. Unlike the two other engines we just mentioned, this one's a plug-in hybrid powertrain, essentially the same one used by the Bentley Bentayga, but delivered here without the six-figure price tag. This model's mid-term update in mid-2023 brought us a slightly sharper look, bigger wheels and a higher price tag. But to find out more, you're going to need the usual comprehensive car and driving review. That evocative badge suggests a raughty exhaust, neck-snapping performance and the usual extra race R drive mode. But actually a Touareg R doesn't have any of that, nor is it intended as any sort of credible alternative to a comparable BMW M or Mercedes-AMG SUV model. And with basically the same turbo petrol V6 as the ordinary e-hybrid model, just boosted in power to 462 PS, with the same modest 450 Nm torque figure, it's equally misleading to present it as any sort of follow-up to that memorable 5-litre V10 diesel-powered Touareg R50 model of 2007, which had so much torque that Volkswagen UK once hitched it up to tow a 155-ton Boeing 747. What we've got instead of all that is the flagship variant that suits likely customers rather better if the sales figures for this variant so far are anything to go by. Keeping that sales momentum going with this updated Touareg R though might be difficult because, disappointingly, as with the ordinary Touareg e-hybrid, the PHEV powertrain in use here is the older VW Group PHEV package based around a 2.9-litre V6, a 138 PS electric motor and a 14.3 kilowatt-hour battery. We had hoped that Volkswagen would have taken up the opportunity presented by this facelift to update that setup to the far more modern plug-in hybrid system which was lately adopted by the updated version of this Touareg's Porsche Cayenne cousin, which in e-hybrid form uses a 3-litre V6, a completely new 176 PS electric motor and a much bigger 25.9 kilowatt-hour battery. That's why that car can go up to 46 miles between charges, while both PHEV Touaregs are limited to just 31 miles. A rival Mercedes GLE 400e PHEV can go up to 70 miles on battery power alone, so yes, this Touareg's plug-in tech is some way behind the curve. But you might still like one. Despite nearly 2.5 tons of curb weight, it does feel reasonably responsive, well in sport mode anyway, with 62 miles an hour dispatched in 5.1 seconds en route to 155 mph. That's with the hybrid drive setting engaged. Switch to electric mode and the top speed on battery power alone will be 84 miles an hour. The switch between the two drive sources is reasonably smooth, but it's certainly noticeable, and you'll particularly hear that engine if you take up the rather inefficient eco drive mode option of using the V6 combustion unit to act as a generator for the battery. Another feature that's carried over from the regular e-hybrid model is the reserve charge feature, which allows you to preserve battery charge for when you might need it at the end of the journey you're on. Air suspension, well, that's standard, but disappointingly, given the handling agility that you'd usually want from a Volkswagen R model, this one can't be ordered with the rear axle steering and the active roll compensation systems that we mentioned earlier on. The PHEV packaging just doesn't allow for it. Visual changes to this improved model are slight, basically large lower front bumper air ducts and revised IQ Light LED matrix headlights. Plus, as part of this update, you get these larger 22-inch Estoril black diamond-turned alloy wheels. As before, from the outside, this top Touareg sets itself apart from humbler variants with various little touches. R-style bumpers, black louvres and the air intake grills, black trim strips on the side windows, black mirror housings and a radiator grille with black trim strips. Plus, if you should miss all that, there's a pair of large trapezoidal tailpipes to clue lesser drivers into what's just flashed past them. Inside, the enhancements are equally subtle. Things like embossed R logos for the unique sports steering wheel and the head restraints of seats trimmed in soft Puglia stitched leather upholstery with crystal grey stitching. Silver wave aluminium decorates the dash and the doors, and you get brushed stainless steel pedals and cool white background lighting. As in the standard model, there's a huge 15-inch infotainment display on the centre stack and a 12-inch digital instrument cluster too. As part of this update, the central infotainment monitor there has had software and functionality updates which have brought more advanced HD map data, plus an updated voice control system too, and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone mirroring. As usual on a Touareg, there's a comfortable back seat with sliding and seat reclining options. Luggage space, accessed via a powered tailgate and a stainless steel load sill protection plate, is slightly compromised by the PHEV system's battery, so it's down from 810 to 655 litres. Think in terms of 1675 litres with the seats down. The most expensive versions of conventional Touaregs already cost around £70,000, so you need to think in terms of needing a budget of around £80,000 for a Touareg R, which is about the same as you'd pay for an identically engineered Porsche Cayenne e-hybrid. Console yourself though with the thought that an identically engineered Bentley Bentayga, the PHEV version of that, could cost you nearly twice as much. Obviously, the standard spec is comprehensive, including 22-inch Estoril black diamond-turned wheel rims with blue calipers and decorated with a silver R logo. Also included are IQ Light LED matrix headlights, a panoramic sunroof, 4-zone air conditioning, a special sports steering wheel and unique upholstery. The InnoVision in-car screen package gives this model a 15-inch central touchscreen and a 12-inch digital instrument binnacle display. Plus there's also the latest version of Volkswagen's Travel Assist adaptive cruise control system, which can accelerate, steer or brake this Touareg at speeds of up to 155 miles an hour. Options include a 780 watt Dyne audio sound system and night vision, which detects people or animals in the dark using a thermal imaging camera. Camera-driven safety features include front cross traffic assist, which responds to traffic crossing in front of the car. For autonomous driving, there's traffic jam and roadwork lane assist, which offers partly automated steering and lane departure warning up to 37 miles an hour, plus autonomous acceleration and braking too. Because like an ordinary Touareg e-hybrid, this Touareg R retains the VW Group's older, smaller 14.3 kilowatt-hour battery rather than the larger 25.9 kilowatt-hour unit now fitted to its close cousin, the Porsche Cayenne e-hybrid. The EV range on offer here, around 31 miles, is some way down on the current prevailing class standard, as correspondingly are the efficiency stats, up to 122.8 mpg on the combined cycle and up to 53 grams per kilometre of CO2. and the car's BIK tax rate, which is 15% rather than the 8% figure you'll get with most direct class rivals. A Mode 3 32 amp 7.2 kilowatt charging cable is included to top up the battery from public charge points. Charging an empty battery in this way will take 2.5 hours from a garage wall box, while using a household 3-pin socket, that'll take 8.5 hours. As usual with the PHEV, there's the option of saving your battery charge for later in your trip. Urban driving, for example, you might have to complete at the end of a long motorway journey. And if the plug-in system's 14.3 kilowatt hour battery is running low, you can rather inefficiently charge it using the V6 petrol engine as a generator. As for servicing, well, as usual with Volkswagen models, there's a choice of either fixed or flexible maintenance packages. You'll choose the fixed approach if you cover less than 10,000 miles a year, and with this, the car will typically be looked at every 12 months. If your daily commute is more than 25 miles and your Touareg is going to be regularly driven on longer distance journeys, then you'll be able to work with the flexible regime instead, and that can see you travelling up to 18,000 miles between garage visits, or every 2 years, whichever is sooner. Insurance group is 49. This potent plug-in powertrain suits this ultimate Touareg very well. If you want more straight-up power from a VW Group engineered premium large SUV, then there's always the Audi RS Q8. If you want more torque, then there's always the Audi SQ7. But those two models look a bit one-dimensional alongside this one. The Touareg R, after all, has much more to offer than just barnstorming performance. At one extreme, there's the potential for largely fuel-free, near-silent commuting, and at the other, this car's capable, when it's properly equipped, of dealing with the kind of challenging off-road track that you might hesitate to attempt in a Land Rover product. And in between, it's capable of scaling 60 from rest as quickly as would a Porsche 718 Cayman sports car. There's something very appealing about a product like that, particularly one that also comes with the warm, eco-centric glow that you get these days from choosing something electrified. A car which is not quite as efficient as its rivals, but still with very affordable tax liability and a set of CO2 and fuel stats that'll stop Greenpeace carpers in their tracks. Yes, it would be nicer to have a Bentley Bentayga or a Porsche Cayenne with the same tech, but a Touareg R makes so much more financial sense. We think you'll like this one.